So this morning was great. I trained hard, bench press, deadlift. I'm on. But more importantly, guys, I just had an interview with a mate of mine, Cam. I actually just became mates with him last week. But this is what I feel is the greatest thing about all this stuff is that when you start facilitating mental health conversations and start talking with people on a deeper level, on a less surface based level, you just have a connection with them. It's just awesome, and I really felt that straight off the bat with my mate, with Cam. So Cam, I got in touch with through Ahern, and you can see Ahern and my interview on my YouTube channel. But the cool thing about Cam was he was also a sufferer from anxiety and went into the alcoholic addict sort of realm, which was really fascinating for me because although I did dabble with alcohol and drugs as an escape, I wouldn't classify myself as an addict. I was more in the OCD realm, as you guys all know. But just had an interview with him today, guys. It was the first time of me recording my audio externally, and I think it came out pretty well in the end. Just had to do a few nitty-gritty things on iMovie, so fucking pretty good. But this is a fascinating interview, guys. I really enjoyed it, and it's interesting to hear about the commonality of anxiety and depression and things you find an escape from in the realm of drug and alcohol addiction, which, like I said, was something I wasn't really too knowledgeable in. And this is what I want to keep doing. So I want to keep showing people that anxiety and depression is so similar across the board, and that there's actually, in my eyes, no real need to classify people as addicts here, or as OCD sufferers, or derealization, or fucking depersonalization, whatever it is. It's all the same thing, and it all causes the same issues within people that are suffering. Okay, and if we can keep bringing everyone together by facilitating these talks, then the perspective will shift on a global level, and I can't wait for that to happen. Hopefully these videos and this sort of stuff helps. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to transition you into a coffee shop, and how do I finish this? I'll speak to you later. Alrighty, mate. Welcome to the interview. This is very novice stuff here with all the camera stuff, but we'll see how we go. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and why we're here, I guess?
Yeah, cool. I guess for me, I suppose I've been on this mental health and recovery journey for probably 7 or 8 years consistently. For me, it came about in the form of getting sober about 7.5 years ago.
Yep.
And at that point, I didn't really know that I suffered from, mental health conditions, depression and anxiety and things like that. And for me, it was just my sort of journey went that it was just best that I didn't use alcohol or recreational drugs anymore.
Yes. As good as they are.
As good as they are. Yeah. For some.
Yeah.
But for me, that really, I suppose, was the catalyst for my recovery, and then, but also my sort of further education around what is mental health.
Yeah.
How does it come about? How does it affect me? How does it affect other people?
Yep.
And from then really, it's just been a series of I suppose series of growth and recovery around what.
Good morning.
Hello.
Cheers.
You're in the shop. Say good day.
You got me, man.
Yeah.
Oh, look what you did.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm up and about over it. That's great.
Distracted me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And so we might as well just keep recording, right? Just keep the camera in. It's good. Thanks very much for that. I'll just keep looking around it. And so, because for me personally, I think we spoke about this last week. For me, I didn't recognise it until after it had all happened.
Yes.
But there was definitely, in retrospect, looking back, there was some underlying issues that I had for my whole life. I was always an anxious kid, but I was just ignorant of that fact. So I just I'd go along in life, being anxious, thinking that was just how everyone was, and, I was chasing the wrong things and all that sort of stuff. Before you really got into, was it drug and alcohol addiction?
Mainly alcohol for me.
Yep.
I certainly wasn't shy of drug use, but
Yeah.
I would say my primary substance was alcohol.
Yep. Okay. Well, did you have like underlying anxiety issues that you weren't aware of at the time before you got into that stuff?
Yeah, well,
or-
I mean, the reason why I was so fond of drinking and then later on using drugs was because as a natural state, I was naturally anxious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And anxiety creates a feeling of separation, isolation.
Yeah.
And there's a certain shame and sort of guilt around it, I think.
Absolutely.
For me as well. Like,
Yep.
I didn't quite know how to talk about it. I was sort of there was something fundamentally wrong.
Yeah.
And alcohol really took all that away from me, and it was able, we've got a saying that alcohol did for me what the phone box did for Clark Kent.
Right. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I just felt a lot more comfortable, more connected, and and hence, it started to take away that anxiety.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
But yeah.
'Cause, it almost seems that like alcohol would be the best thing, in terms of any other drug.
It's very
Like,
good.
yeah, it's good. But like, it just, most people on this earth have had alcohol before, and we all, anxiety or not, get the feeling that after a couple of beers or whatever, you just feel more confident. Like, it's a depressant. So, yeah, how common is alcohol addiction with this sort of stuff?
Yeah, look, they say, and it's only a rough number, but they say that probably 1 in 10
Right.
people are alcoholic.
Yeah.
To the letter of the description.
Yes.
And for me, I had to understand that what I envisaged in my head was the alcoholic that sits in the park.
Yeah.
With a brown paper bag.
Yeah.
And under a tree, who's homeless and growing a dirty beard.
Yeah. A legend.
Yeah. I thought that was an alcoholic, but I've come to learn that it's not. It's merely just around, do I have control over how much I drink when I start? And for me, I couldn't answer that for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I used it addictively.
Yeah.
I used it to get out of my own reality, which is in a sense not ideal.
Yes, yes. And I think that's you hit the nail on the head with like people having these ideas or stereotypes in the head of what like someone who's anxious looks like, someone who's depressed looks like, someone who's an alcoholic or a drug addict looks like. And it's funny, I guess that's some of the stuff that I'm trying to do with this is just kind of, untaboo the taboo, but also bring that awareness. Is it like it's far more common than everyone thinks, and it's people think a certain way because people that have the issue don't feel like they can talk about it. But my cousin, when he was talking to me about when he was in rehab, and his best mate in there was a plastic surgeon who got addicted from self-prescription to heroin, I think, and he was making millions a year. Like he was killing life by social norms regard, but he was fucked. It's a classic one. So, all right. So how long were you addicted to alcohol for before you realised it was an issue?
For me, it happened really, really quickly. Addiction is riddled within my family.
Yes.
On both sides.
Yes.
So I was always, and whether that is alcohol, drug use, prescription medication. They're the kind of like the substance addictions, and then you've got process addictions like work and sex and gambling.
Yeah.
Social media is a new process addiction that's come about. So for me, I kind of I didn't work it out, but the end came very quickly.
Yeah.
It felt like 1 year in 2009, I was travelling the world, having the time of my life with a couple of buddies, and just smacking piss every day, and I thought I was living the dream. And then 6 months later, I was on my knees going, I need some serious help.
Yes.
So it was kind of confusing for me in a way, but at the same time, it just felt right.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it just felt like the time had come for me to have a look at what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I wasn't at all happy with where I was at in my life.
Yeah.
So I felt like something had to give.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So
yeah.
I probably drank really solidly for 10 years.
Okay, yeah. And that's like daily or, well, close to daily and things
For
like
me, I was not really, and this is the other sort of misconception that comes with alcoholism and addiction, is that it's sort of more along the lines of what happens when you drink and use as opposed to how often.
that. Yep.
So for me, it was more around, I was what they call a binger.
Sure. Yep.
You know, so
Yep.
for me, I would go as hard as I could for as long as I could.
Yep.
Without really a care for circumstances or my own behaviour or outcomes of that.
Yeah.
But having said that, towards the end, it was creeping up to 3-4 days a week where
Yeah.
that was happening.
Yeah, sure.
And that was, they call, addiction and alcoholism, it's a progressive thing.
Yes.
So, because I started out not drinking every day, it was certainly heading that way, and I could feel that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so that was certainly pretty confronting as well.
Yeah, okay, yep. There was something I really wanted to touch on, which was we were talking about last week. So for everyone watching this at home, I met Cam through a mutual friend, which you all know now as Ahern Bruh, who we had on the channel. And Ahern and Cam are good mates, and we met up last week for a coffee to discuss some sort of business options. But one thing that we spoke about last week, which I thought was really interesting, was that you and myself and Ahern have all reached a point where, irrespective of how we got there and what anxiety and depression was for us, we hit rock bottom, basically, and then getting ourselves right became a need, and there was a real demand for it. But how do you think, like, do you think that it's possible to get some sort of recovery out of this sort of stuff when you don't like absolutely need it? Because I feel like when I started really getting those suicidal thoughts, and I sort of took a step back and I looked at myself, I was like, fuck, like, I'm not normally like this person, something needs to change. But when we were speaking last week about how a lot of people can go through life like this, never experiencing that low, so they're not knowing how good that is. When you were doing your mental health work, when it became a business thing for you, did you have those sorts of people to work with? Or
Yeah, definitely. I think by nature humans want to grow.
Yeah.
And they want to get better.
Yeah.
But in terms of recovery from mental health, I absolutely think that people can get better.
Yes.
But when you don't know what it is, I feel like the likelihood of it getting worse before it gets better is more so because
For sure.
you don't know what you're dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's kind of like being bitten by a snake and not knowing it's a snake bite.
Yeah.
You might just think it's a mozzie.
Yeah.
But you sort of work out pretty quick it's a snake bite when
Yeah.
you start to die, essentially.
Yeah.
So, I think the most important thing, and it's starting to happen, and you've taken a lead in this, is by taking all the shame out of it by talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know I've met thousands of people now that suffer from mental health issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the whole shame and you call taboo is getting lessened.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
more people of notoriety that are starting to come out and talk about it, which I think is great for it.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing about that, I think like people want to grow by nature, but
Yeah.
they also learn best when they're fucked.
Yeah, when they're absolutely cooked. Yeah.
That's been my experience, and it's how I tend to operate. It's getting better.
Yeah.
I'm sort of quicker to use the tools now.
Yeah.
When I'm feeling off.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But that's taken some time and consistent practice and a lot of help.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I guess on the other side of that as well, like one thing that people ask me is that, because I use the word recovery, but I try to use it lightly because, I think like I'm about 1,000 times better than where I was, but every day is still, challenging because I put these challenges in my life, and I'm on the process of getting better. But I feel like when people think of the word recovery, they think, oh, you're all good now, you're back to normal. But for me personally, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. It's not about that at all. Like, I still have thoughts all the time and all this sort of stuff, but now that I have these tools in place, I recognise them for what they are. They're just thoughts, and my life is now geared towards self-development, and I'm way happier. But it's not as though I'm back to normal. Like, I'm a different me with just a different understanding. Like, how do you go in terms of that whole recovery concept, and how's your day to day now?
Yeah, look, it's for me, it's taken quite a long time. Because essentially what had to happen is that I was conditioned to behave and think in a certain way for probably, I got clean and sober 26.
Yeah.
So for 26 years, I've been conditioned one way or another to think and act a certain way.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, you almost got to start again.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, definitely.
it's taken, it's now 7.5 years, and I'm now probably as solid and as free and as unbothered as I've ever been.
Yes.
But as you said, like, it's a corny line, but it's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah, but it's so true though. Yeah.
It is really true.
Yeah.
And for me, I just try and keep it simple. I
Yeah.
just try and keep it a day at a time.
Yeah.
And if I have an off day, then I have an off day. It doesn't mean that.
You're back to square one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like having people that are also sober that I know, that get to hang out with, that have been on
That's
the
a thing.
path.
Yeah.
I get a lot of help from them, and we work through things together. Guys like Ahern, and I mean, there's a handful of them that I'm really lucky to know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And to anyone that's on this recovery journey, I think that's really important.
Yes.
You have running buddies.
Yes.
And,
I mean that's the biggest thing. I'm only just starting to understand how good that 12-step recovery process is. But it's just, like I was saying last week, it coincides so closely to what I learnt on my own journey with my 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
But I guess this is another thing that I'm trying to do with all this sort of thing, is that like that buddy system, and just, last week when I spoke to you, like I'd never met you before, and then after our coffee, like, it was just like, oh, I've got a good mate now in Cam, because like we've been on a similar journey, and like it's just so easy to talk about. It's definitely an easy thing to talk about, once you've been through it, because you know what I've been through pretty much, and I know what you've been through, at least mentally anyway. But it's amazing that this sort of 12-step stuff hasn't come over into the mainstream. Like, the awareness is still there. People now know that there's a thing called anxiety, but they just don't feel like. I feel like people are just still struggling to be like, hey man, can you just help me along this path?
Yeah.
Because they don't feel like old mate's been on this path, So, how important for you was having that buddy system? Was it 90% of it? Or
yeah,
was it,
crucial.
Yeah.
In the early days, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
was it accountability? Was it like...
for me, it was more just sort of a level of support, I think.
Yes.
For me, like, I felt like, particularly with my close friends at the time, like, a lot of them didn't quite understand what I was going through.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I kind of don't expect them to either.
Yeah. But I also think an element of that is in because they don't know what they're going through as well. Like, I really, really strongly... I know that anxiety is an emotion. And so whatever you want to call it, like stress, worry, hardship, having a shit time at work, being fucked, all this sort of stuff, like, people have anxiety, just like people have anger and all that sort of thing. But I think a part in not understanding what people like us have gone through, or other people, is because they don't know what they might be going through. Or they may see a distinction, or they may distinguish between stress and anxiety when in fact they're very similar.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, sorry, yeah.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
And what I've come to realise is that some people aren't going through anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Like,
some people are just good.
Yeah, some people are just cool, and and good on them. Like,
Yeah, exactly,
It's
yeah.
not my
Killing it.
story. Like,
Yeah. So true.
Yeah, so
Fucking dickheads.
like, I used to think that everyone had something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's not the case.
Exactly,
Like, some
yeah.
people are just pretty well balanced and conditioned and functional, and for me, I've had to work my ass off to understand who I am and
Yeah.
What works for me and what doesn't.
Yeah, for sure.
And
For sure.
but yeah, in terms of the I suppose the buddy system, it just something happens when you go through with something with someone.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it doesn't matter who it is. You know,
Yeah.
it's like the whole. You know, you can meet a random stranger and you might save someone from drowning together or
Yep.
something like that. But you're going to have a bond with that person
Oh, straight away.
straight away.
Yeah.
And I think what's missing mainly in society and what propels a lot of the mental health stuff is this lack of connection.
Yeah.
This lack of
Yeah.
intimacy and this lack of connection with other human beings.
Yeah. Which is obviously pretty overemphasised now with social media.
Yeah,
We were talking a bit about that last week.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sort of passionate about social media being used in the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. So this will be on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, mate.
I was going to say, this will be all over the joint.
Yeah, it'll be on Pornhub.
So, yeah, I think it's important that we use social media for what it is, because it can be a really powerful source of connection.
Yes.
But also remember that we're human beings and we need human contact and
Yeah.
human connection, not your keyboard warrior effect. You know.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a tricky one.
Yeah. So let's have a chat about Inside Out. What how did Inside Out come about, and what is Inside Out? Yeah.
So Inside Out was a business that I ran for 3 years. To be honest, it all came off the back of I was sitting at a cafe one afternoon with a guy that I work with.
Yep.
And really long story short, he started choking on a steak sandwich
Oh,
in
no
front
shit.
of
I
me.
didn't know that. Yeah.
He was going purple. He was starting to foam at the mouth.
Yeah.
And it was pretty intense, pretty
Yeah.
scary, and I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And he was knocking plates and cups, and in a real panic. And for whatever reason, I channeled my inner Mrs. Doubtfire. And just Heimlicked him.
Became a woman.
Yeah, exactly. Not knowing what it was. You're not even meant to really do that.
Yeah.
In terms of first aid and stuff, but
Yeah.
anyway, it just happened, and the steak flew out of his mouth, and
Shit.
and it was and he's all good.
Yeah.
But it just set something off in me around wanting to contribute more and be more purposeful and help others. And by this stage, I was probably 3 or 4 years sober, maybe,
Yep.
something like that. And I just I knew that there were others out there like me, like you,
Yep.
that wanted to grow.
Yes.
So really what Inside Out was just an environment where I ran events and brought in speakers
Okay. Yep.
that
Yep.
spoke about different realms of life, and tried to educate and help people grow.
Yeah.
And just to breed happiness and contentment, really.
Sure. Yeah. And was there like was it literally in all facets of life, or was it more geared towards mental health, geared towards personal development? Like, what did you say?
It was a bit of an all-round thing. And
Yeah.
sort of, I just kind of, as I met new people and I found their stories intriguing or interesting, and I thought they could be of service or help, then
Yeah.
I would just ask them to talk. So,
Yes.
we had coaches, we had counsellors, we had entrepreneurs, we had really sort of well-entrenched business people.
Yep.
We had other people that had suffered from addiction. We
Yeah.
had, medical professionals. Like, there's a realm of different.
Yeah. A lot of different things. Yeah.
But I suppose the main message that we had was, for me, it's been an inside job.
Yeah.
So, hence the name. And it's not about the car, the relationship, the paycheck,
Yeah.
the holidays and all that sort of. They're all wonderful. And
Strippers, the cocaine.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
probably more about that, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot to do with that.
But yeah, more about waking up in the morning and having this internal peace and
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
contentment
Yep.
and being okay with your place in the world and who you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So a lot of it was designed to be skewed towards that. It didn't always happen.
Yeah.
But that was how it started.
That was, yeah. Well, I thought I was just thinking about how I wanted to start running these interviews, and I thought if at the end, like we can do it similar to my podcast, where my mate and I, we ask 3 questions just to finish it off, and I'll just get like a general. Well, I'll keep those questions common for every interview. But the first one is, where would you like to see mental health in sort of the next 20 years? Like, what would you want to see in businesses, or like, or how it's regarded? Yeah.
It's a really good question. I think I'd just like to have no, like it'd be like going to the doctor for a flu shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That level of ease and freedom around it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like kind of like being diabetic.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's just another thing.
I suffer from anxiety. I'm a diabetic.
Yeah.
That level of freedom, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly what I want to be. Like, just change perspective is where, like, you know, mates can talk about going out and pick up chicks, you know, getting drunk on the weekend as long as it's not an escape, and then they can also talk about, oh man, I've been anxious for the past couple of months, you know, what do we do about it? And also on that level, like I said before, that other mates, although they may not regard it as anxiety, they can say, oh man, I had a similar thing, like I was really stressed and I had that similar build-up of heart pain, or, you know, all this sort of thing. I think if we can all start talking about it like that, as opposed to being like, oh yeah, I went to the psychologist, you know, I've got an issue.
Yeah.
We'll all be able to figure out our own processes and tools that work for each of us. My last thing as well, my last question was, do you practice a form of meditation? Like, are you spiritual? Do you use religion? What's your way to find inner peace?
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's a lot of different tools I use, but I meditate every day.
Yeah.
I use a range of different apps, and I find things on YouTube.
Yep.
Sometimes I'll just sit there in my courtyard and just listen.
Yeah.
You know, just a silent one. I use a lot of prayer as well.
Yep.
For me, that's just I'm in dialogue with the universe.
Yeah.
You know? You know, and I try and set some intentions for every day, and try and just more go with the flow. And then another big part of it for me is written work. So journaling, taking inventory, taking stock of where I'm at. What are my what's irritating me?
Yeah.
What am I scared of? What's holding me back? What's stopping me from being in the flow?
Yeah.
Things like that. So I find when it's out of my head and on paper, there's a certain clarity that appears.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And if that doesn't work, then I'll revert back to, you know, ringing a mate and going, hey, this is what's going on. Have you got any insight into that?
Yeah,
you know?
have you had... Okay, cool.
Have you seen anything I can't see?
Yeah.
You know, and generally they can.
Yes, yes.
That's how it works.
And I guess that being in touch with, like, your inner self, and like you said with the universe, like, there's a certain level of accountability I find personally when I meditate and stuff. I feel like the more I meditate, or the more introspective I am, I have a feeling of a connection with more than just me.
Yeah.
And it not only does it bring me closer to everyone, it also makes me feel accountable to be with everyone. So like like forces me or motivates me to keep myself in check. To be honest with you, I really feel like that's where God and religion came from. But people were just a little bit more ignorant back in those days when they looked up at the moon and God, oh, you know, old mate moon. But yeah, that's just my perspective on it. But yeah, Cam, mate, thank you so much. Legend. Beautiful.